Good morning, everyone. Wow, you can hear me. Okay, I'm old school. You can see my age. I have to have notes to remember everything. So it's such an honor to be here at Rise Phuket 2025. Among so many brilliant, many I know, ambitious and forward-thinking women. Today we're talking about expect the unexpected. Now, your career won't be a straight line. You know that. It's zig, zag, loop, and occasionally throw you right off the roller coaster. And that's okay. A detour doesn't necessarily mean that you're lost. It usually means you might find something even better around the corner. When I was 28 years old, I had my dream life. I had spent 5 years working as a scuba diving instructor, introducing people to the underwater world in Mykonos, the Red Sea, Venezuela, the Caribbean, and the Maldives. Not a bad office, right? But now I felt I needed a change, and I didn't know what. And then I got an urgent call to come to Phuket. Now, in what my daughter lovingly calls the good old days, there was no internet. To research Phuket, I had to go to a travel agency. They showed me a brochure of Patong, and I saw these huge, ugly buildings, and I thought, that's definitely not for me. I thought, what an awful-looking place. So I told the dive center owner, I'm only staying for 6 months, just to help you out until you find a replacement. Can anyone guess how long I've stayed in Phuket now? 16? 16? No, more? More? 29 years. Yeah. What happened? I fell in love with Phuket, Thailand, and the beautiful Thai people. After a year, I started to look for new opportunities, and then I took a chance. Right, let's see. Does anybody know the name of this beautiful hotel? Yeah, sorry? Amampuri, yeah. It's won countless awards, so I decided to apply for a role as assistant villa manager. What experience did I have? None. Did I have a college degree? No. Confidence? Maybe a little bit. So after one of many, many interviews, very difficult ones with a villa manager, he asked me, where do I see myself in 5 years since I've never worked in a hotel? And I cheekily said to him, sitting in your seat. He laughed. Perhaps he saw something really cheeky or fresh or different, and I got the job. I adapted, worked hard, learned fast, and 6 years later, he got promoted, and I took his seat. I looked after Gwyneth Paltrow, Chris Martin, Tiger Woods, Dr. Henry Kissinger, and countless others. I then branched out on my own as a luxury hospitality consultant, launching resorts in beautiful places like the Turks and Caicos Islands and Vietnam. I worked for then Ani Private Resorts, and I launched this hotel on Koh Yao Noi, a beautiful beachfront property. The owner was so happy, it was so successful, we then went on to open in Sri Lanka and the Dominican Republic. And then 3 years ago, I took another leap of faith. I applied to be the British Honorary Consul for Phuket. Again, no experience, but some experience in life. Numerous people had applied, and only 8 candidates were selected for interview. Guess how many were women? 1, just me. Yep. I was honored to be selected. And so what does a British Honorary Consul do? I represent the UK here in Phuket. I met with the governor, the commander-in-chief, immigration, tourist officials to support British nationals and tourists in Phuket, Phang Nga, and now I've taken over Krabi. I help people in distress, whether it's a lost passport, a terrible road accident, or even more serious cases like sexual assault or rape. If there's a major incident, such as the deadly plane crash a few years ago that killed 90 people, I'm on the ground coordinating support. But the moment that really shaped me, and I'm going to get emotional, so it happens every time, and I don't know why, was the tsunami. So when the tsunami hit in 2004, it was devastation, and it was overwhelming. Yet, the very next day, our Thai neighbors were out clearing debris, helping others, and rebuilding together. That kind of courage and resilience leaves a mark. It reminds me how lucky we are to call Phuket home, right? We are very lucky, and that each one of us has a responsibility to give back. Since then, I've supported many local charities on the island. 4 years ago, we started a little shop in Manik that recycles clothes and other things. And last year, we raised 350,000 baht to give to local charities. In December, I learned that Phuket had no cancer radiology unit and that patients traveled hundreds of miles to Hat Yai for treatment. There are people here in this room that donated land to allow this to happen, but they needed to raise money. They needed to raise 290 million, sorry, this is actually not correct. It was 290 million baht. Local people, local Thai people raised 180, but they needed another 110,000 baht, and they didn't know how to go about getting the rest. So we did a fundraiser, we had a gala ball, and we raised 2 million baht. But it wasn't the 2 million baht that made it. It was people, every single Thai and expat giving 500, 1,000, or 10 million baht from some companies. And in the end, instead of raising 290 million baht, they raised 416 million baht. And that is our island. That is our community. And now that cancer unit is a reality in Phuket. So for me, this really shows what can happen when we join together. As Gandhi said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. So I would encourage every one of you to please consider doing something for those less fortunate. Many of you I see today, I know, do that. Volunteer in schools, help. So please, reach out. There is something more that we can do. Now, as women, we often carry an extra weight, the weight of proving ourselves, of balancing family life and expectations of being judged differently. I've seen young women freeze when the unexpected happens, afraid they'll be criticized, or worse, that they will fail. Yes, the unexpected can feel daunting. I hired a GM for our Dominican Republic property who was amazing on paper. Sadly, in reality, he needed a lot more training to lead this type of high-end luxury resort, or he would fail. I did have faith that he could get there, but only with the right support. With just a few months to the opening, I realized I had only one option. In order to give him the hands-on support he needed, I would have to move my whole family halfway around the world to the Dominican Republic. It was a hard sell for my husband, who had to give up his career, and the first months were very tough. But we created a great team, and the GM is still here, still there, 10 years later, creating magic on the Dominican Republic. But for me, best of all, the whole family treasures all the experiences of living in the Caribbean and the great friends that we made. So I am extremely grateful. Let me check the time. I'm extremely grateful for all these unexpected turns, and I continue to learn and grow. And you know, the unexpected doesn't only happen to you. It happens to the women around you, next to you, your peers, your teams, your friends. When you've walked through the fire, extend your hand back. When you've survived your first hospitality disaster or your first disastrous boss, don't just move on. Tell the story, laugh about it, say to the young woman next to you, yes, it was wild, and here's how I handled it, and here's how you can handle it too. Because true leadership isn't about being the only one at the top. It's about making sure there's a crowd of women up there with you sipping champagne. So to all of you beautiful women here today, expect the unexpected. Welcome it. because it's in these moments that you'll discover your courage, your creativity, and your leadership. Thank you so much.